Hello, my kindred friend. Have you ever sat quietly by a window, watching the last rays of sunlight fade upon the leaves and whispered to yourself, "If only my health were a bit better. If only my children lived closer, so I wouldn't worry. Or if only these troubles would pass. Then I would truly be happy." We often spend our entire lives waiting for perfect conditions, unintentionally turning our most precious years into a waiting room filled with anxiety. But did you know that there are souls out there who have found a quiet and stable joy, even when the storms of life surround them? Today, I do not bring you a miracle to change the world, but rather 10 profound teachings from the Buddha to help you completely shift the lens of your soul. Real happiness is never loud. Sometimes, it is simply a silent peace when you recognize your true self and understand that you are exactly where you need to be, right in the midst of what is inherently imperfect. Open your heart as we enter the journey to rediscover your freedom right now. Lesson 1. Impermanence, the dance of change. Let us begin by observing the rhythm of the world outside. Flowers bloom brilliantly in the morning, only to silently close as dusk falls. Clouds in the sky never maintain one shape for more than a moment. In the Buddha's wisdom, this is anicca, impermanence. Most of us view impermanence with eyes of worry because we fear losing what we have: youth, mental clarity, or loved ones. However, dear friend, impermanence is not a cruel sentence of time. It is the most silent blessing nature bestows upon us. Imagine if this pain never changed, or if this exhaustion were eternal. Would we have any hope? Because everything changes, pain can fade, and healing has the chance to sprout. I want to share the story of an old monk and his disciple over a quiet cup of tea. When the disciple accidentally dropped a precious ceramic cup and trembled with apology, the monk simply looked at the shards on the floor and smiled. "My child, to me, this cup was already broken the moment I held it. Because I knew it would break sooner or later, I cherished every moment it was whole. And now that this moment has arrived, I have nothing to regret." Happiness in any circumstance begins when you learn to sync with impermanence instead of resisting it. When joy comes, enjoy it fully like the aroma of a good tea. When sadness visits, look at it with compassion and whisper a liberating mantra: "This too shall pass." Impermanence teaches us a wonderful balance. Do not cling too tightly during success, and do not despair in adversity. When you accept that the world is a constant flow, your mind will no longer be swept away by fierce waves. You become a free observer, smiling at every arrival and departure, knowing that beneath the rippling surface of the lake, your essence remains pure and unchanging. Lesson 2. Releasing attachment, loosening the spiritual grip. Imagine holding a handful of sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the more the sand seeks to escape through your fingers, and your palm begins to feel tired and tense. Our lives are just like that. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering lies not in the losses themselves, but in our attitude of attachment, our grasping onto things. Kindred friend, we often confuse love with attachment. We think that the more we worry, control, or want things to stay still, the more we love. But in truth, genuine love brings the breath of freedom, while attachment carries the chains of fear. Consider another perspective on the ceramic cup. A disciple loved his handmade cup so much he cherished it every day. One day, it shattered. He was so devastated he could not eat or sleep. The master sat beside him and said, "My child, in truth, you did not love that cup as much as you thought. You only loved the illusion that it would stay with you forever. Let this truth sink deep into your heart. You didn't love the cup. You loved the illusion that it would always be with you. This is the raw truth of consciousness. We suffer when someone leaves, when health declines, or when a memento is lost, not because of the event itself, but because of the hidden contract we signed with our minds. This must be mine, forever. When reality breaks the contract, we feel betrayed. Happiness begins when you learn to love without possessing. Cherish your loved ones, the way you admire a wild flower. Enjoy its beauty and scent while it blooms, but have no intention of picking it to lock in a jar. When you loosen the hands that are gripping the past, reputation, or old images of yourself, you will feel your shoulders lighten. Letting go is not losing. It is returning things to their natural essence, so you can walk through life without a heavy burden. Lesson 3. Peace is always within. There is a common illusion we often chase, believing peace is something we can find in the external world. We seek it in financial stability, the obedience of children, or a perfect environment. But if you place the key to your tranquility in the hands of circumstances, you will forever be a hostage to never-ending fluctuations. Look at our reality. You might live in a grand house, but the excessive silence makes you restless. Or, when your children grow up, worry for them still invades your mind at night. We tell ourselves, when everything is settled, I will be at peace. In the Buddha's wisdom, that is like a person waiting for the waves to stop before learning to swim. Meditate on the metaphor of the vast ocean. On the surface, the ocean may be full of fierce waves and storms. However, if you dive thousands of meters deep, you touch a space of absolute stillness that surface storms can never reach. True inner peace operates by that law. It is not about silencing family difficulties or erasing the pains of old age. Peace is the ability to create a deep sea zone within your own consciousness. When you return to nourish internal stability, you realize you can stand firm amidst turmoil without being swept away. Happiness is not when the world outside falls silent, but when you find stillness within your own breath. Lesson 4. The mind is the artist sculpting life. Have you ever wondered what silently molds your emotions and aura every day? Why, in the same situation, does one person feel calm while another suffers? The Buddha reminded us of a simple yet powerful truth. Mind precedes all things. You are what you think. Imagine your mind as a fertile garden. The thoughts you nourish daily are the seeds. The garden does not distinguish between a fragrant flower and a thorny weed. It silently accepts and nourishes whatever you sow. If we spend all day watering our minds with ideas of loneliness, health worries, or regrets over a golden past, we unintentionally create deep grooves in the brain. These grooves become the only path for consciousness, making it hard to escape the loop of sorrow. But no matter your age, you always have the power of a mindful gardener. Observe your inner dialogue. When you replace a thought of resentment with one of gratitude, you are sowing a new seed. It may not sprout today, but with persistence, it will change the structure of your inner joy. Remember, you are sculpting who you will be tomorrow. Each small thought is a fine chisel stroke of the artist. It is never too late. Every morning, you have the chance to choose a new material for your soul. Happiness depends on how you sculpt yourself with compassion and positive thoughts. Lesson 5. The present is the only home of life. We spend most of our lives living in two places that do not exist: the past, a collection of old films of regret, and the future, a gallery of paintings of anxiety. We are like travelers searching for a harbor, yet stepping past the door of the only real home we have, this very moment. The Buddha taught Satipatthana, the 4 foundations of mindfulness. This is the art of returning, When you bring the mind back to the body, you touch the most authentic flow of life. A direct question for you. At this very moment, where are you really? Are you sitting here, but your mind is worrying about tomorrow? Are you hearing these words, but your heart is circling a sorrow from 10 years ago? When you are not present, your life is merely a shadow of concepts. Happiness cannot sprout in a dead past or bloom in an unformed future. It only exists now. Let's practice coming home for 30 seconds. Gently feel the weight of your body leaning against the chair. Notice the cool air as you inhale and the slight warmth as you exhale. 2-second pause. Feel the temperature of your skin, the quiet beat of your heart. That is all. When you do this, you pull yourself out of the illusions of time. Those 30 seconds of presence are worth more than 10 years of living in a haze. Happiness is the quality of presence you give to this moment. Lesson 6. Compassion. The bridge connecting souls. Think of someone who hurt you or someone you find hard to forgive. Does your heart fill with heavy judgment when you think of them? We build walls of prejudice and trap ourselves in isolation. However, sincere compassion is the master key that shatters the chains of hatred. Understand this. Beneath the shell of identity and status, every heart beats with the same desire to be loved and the same fear of suffering. When someone acts harshly or children grow distant, it is often a clumsy cry for help from a nameless pain within them. Instead of judging, look through the mask of behavior. See the wrinkles and the weariness in their eyes and whisper, "Just as I wish to be happy, so do all beings." This is not to make you superior, but to release your heart from the poison of resentment. When you recognize the shared pain of humanity, judgment yields to empathy. You don't need to be right. You just need to be at peace. Happiness begins when you choose compassion over criticism. Lesson 7. Mastering the inner kingdom. Have you ever felt exhausted trying to fix the world around you? We spend so much energy wanting children to live our way or society to meet our expectations, but the world is like the weather, unpredictable and beyond control. True freedom lies in mastering the only kingdom you truly own, your consciousness. Look at the thoughts flowing through your head. They're like clouds passing across the sky of your essence. The cloud may be the gray of anxiety or the white of joy, but the sky is always there, quiet and vast behind them. Our mistake is grabbing these clouds and thinking they are who we are. Ask yourself, are you a slave to your thoughts or a witness to them? When you choose to be the witness, you reclaim your sacred autonomy. You cannot stop negative thoughts from appearing, but you have the right to choose whether to nourish them. Happiness depends on the quality of thoughts you choose to keep. Don't waste strength changing the wind. Adjust your own sails. Lesson 8. Gratitude. The miracle of transformation. We often forget blessings because they are so simple. We wait for grand events to be happy, stepping over the warmth of a morning tea or the steady breath sustaining us. Gratitude is an active energy state that can shift the entire atmosphere of your consciousness. Genuine gratitude is not fake optimism. Healing doesn't force you to smile through pain. However, gratitude allows you to see that even when the body is weary, life is still supporting you in the most silent ways. It helps you realize, I have pain, but I am not just that pain. I am also this sunlight, this love, and this awareness. I call gratitude the guardian of what is. It builds a fortress for your peace against the storms of complaining and envy. Start small. Instead of resenting what is lost, bless what remains. When your heart shifts from scarcity to appreciation, the world becomes remarkably gentle. Lesson 9. The world is a mirror of the soul. Do you feel helpless trying to change a relative's personality or wishing the world were less chaotic? We waste too much effort fixing external reflections, forgetting the source of perception lies within us. The world does not exist outside of you. It happens inside the lens of your consciousness. Imagine life as a large mirror. If your face is sorrowful, you cannot ask the reflection to smile. If the mirror of your mind is covered in the dust of anger, even a beautiful landscape will look dark. The greatest mistake is trying to wipe the reflection, bending others to our will. When you wipe the face of your own soul with tolerance and mindfulness, a miracle occurs. As your mind shifts, the world around you shifts too. Don't wait for the world to be perfect. Train your eyes to see the perfection in what is already whole. Lesson 10. Inner sovereignty, be a lamp unto yourself. We reach the peak of all wisdom. After a lifetime of contribution and perhaps wandering, we eventually face a moment where external supports become fragile. Health declines, loved ones move away, and titles fade. Before entering nirvana, the Buddha left a message that has moved humanity for millennia. My children, lamp unto yourselves. Be a light unto yourselves. Rely on yourselves, and do not rely on anyone else. This is the greatest empowerment. Happiness in all circumstances is reclaiming your inner sovereignty. We often act as spiritual beggars, asking for validation from children or peace from external conditions. But inside, you is already a lamp of awareness, a kingdom of freedom that no one has the right to violate. Inner sovereignty means realizing your joy is not a gift from the world, so the world has no right to take it away. Even in pain, your lamp of wisdom can observe that pain with tolerance. Do not seek a savior far away. You are the king of your own emotional kingdom. We have traveled 10 paths of wisdom to rediscover the true definition of happiness. As we conclude, remember, true happiness is not a flawless state, but absolute tolerance for all that is inherently imperfect. If these words brought even a moment of relief, I invite you to light a small spark for the community by leaving a comment. I light my own lamp. This is a sacred confirmation that you are ready to master your inner kingdom. Allow me to continue accompanying you on this journey of mindfulness by clicking the subscribe button. Every day, let us sit together, water the seeds of peace, and remind each other of our inherent pure essence. May the light of wisdom always illuminate your leisurely steps, wishing you a life of peace and freedom amidst a changing world. Goodbye, and see you again.